be anybody in here? Oh, it's you. Perfect. I thought maybe. Sorry. Look, I know you're about to shower, but I really wanted to tell you about the Octoroon. Here's a towel. Just kind of put that on. Okay. I have to use the bathroom, so I'm just gonna sit down here. Let me just... Okay. All right. So the Octoroon, it's written by Dion Boucault. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but it opened in 1859 at the Winter Garden Theater in New York, and was based off of a book called The Quadroon by Thomas Mayne Reid. Okay, so the story's about this guy named George Peyton. His uncle left him with an old plantation. However, Jacob McCloskey, who is the bad guy here, he is another rich white man, fantastic. A real villain that I can get behind. Fuck those guys. So he lets him know that his land and slaves are going to be sold off. But a rich lady named Dora Sunnyside likes George and really wants to be with him. George, however, loves Zoe, who is an Octoroon, which is someone who is 1/8 black. And when George confesses his love for her, she explains that they can't be married because the law forbids any white man from marrying anyone who has even one drop of African American blood. And so because of this heritage, they can't stay together. So a whole lot of stuff happens, but she ends up sold to Jacob because she is partially black, so she is technically a slave, which is ridiculous and lame, but that is the time that we are in. So she gets sold to Jacob because he loves her and wants to marry her, but she doesn't want to marry him because he's a piece of shit. So he decides if he can't have her, he will buy her so that he can marry her. And so instead of becoming his mistress, she drinks some poison because it's better off to be dead than with him. But then he gets arrested for his crimes that he committed because he's a piece of shit again. But it's too late. She would get to stay with George, but she already drank the poison. Hey, you don't mind if I work on homework while you just lay around and watch TikTok or whatever, right? Okay, awesome. So Zoe is a tragic mulatto. Now, I hear you saying, what's a tragic mulatto? A tragic mulatto is a stereotypical fictional character from the time that this play was written. It's described as a mixed race person who is depressed or even suicidal because their lives don't fit in with the white world or the black world, and so they're alone. They aren't good enough to be white, but not, black enough to be black with the slaves. And
that was probably
it shows that they are the victim of a world divided by race. So in this story, Zoe is supposed to be a white person and treated as such because she should have been a freed slave. However, Jacob finds out that she isn't actually a freed slave like her uncle, like George's uncle intended her to be. So he brings it up and decides if she won't love him, he'll make her love him by becoming his mistress. So the only way for them to save this is for George to marry Dora. Now, George doesn't want to marry Dora. He wants to be with Zoe. But this is the only way that they can even be near each other, which really leads into the tragedy of it. Would you rather be around someone you love or not be able to be around them at all?
Dating for anything other than...
Well, George decides he doesn't want to marry Dora. He's not going to put her through all of this just for him not to really love her. So he doesn't go through with her. And overall, it didn't matter because she showed up anyways. But it just shows how this is a world divided by race. And to a point, we still are. Alright, I like this play a good amount. It's not my favorite play that we've read, but I really did like it. I feel that the talk of race really helps us understand how bad the world was. And, to a point, still is. But there wasn't anything I really disliked about it, which makes me feel as if I've got to recommend it. I mean,
I love
how could I not? There's nothing I disliked. So if you like this talk about race relations, especially in the past, and to a point still today, because these beliefs are not completely gone, unfortunately, but I think that it helps people understand at least a little bit of what people of other heritages can go through in this country. And I think that that's a very valuable thing, especially for people who live in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. So I would read it, especially if you're super interested in this stuff like I am. But I know you're not like crazy into it, but I still think it could help. You could read it and it might help you understand some things that I thought I understood, but it helps clarify. So thanks for listening to me talk again, man. It's helpful to think these things through with people, you know?
I'm not being